Hello, beautiful people. How you doing? It's good to see you this fine Saturday evening. I hope that you have had a wonderful day. I have had a wonderful, calm, quiet day. My favorite thing on Saturday morning is not talking. The best. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Yes, it has been a very vegetative day, and that's been fantastic. Now I'm all, charged up. Ready to be here with you all. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit that like button. Share the live. Well, welcome. Welcome to anybody and everybody who is new. Welcome to all the returning folks. Welcome to all the members and the subscribers. Appreciate you all very much. We've had a good week on the channel, Yeah, we've had a good week. Great lives. Last night was hysterical. I did a dramatic reading of the lyrics of one of Drake's songs, and then I watched the replay later, and it was hysterical. It was hysterical as it was happening. It was hysterical after the fact. Good Lord. We've had a couple scripted videos, you should definitely check those out. You should definitely like them. You should comment on them. You should, hype them if you can. Yes, child. We've been very, very busy. So we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about, let's see, how Drake's music can suck in the number one position. Okay, we've talked about why everybody hates this project. We've talked about Drake desperate to be a relevant Joker and getting postered, got posterized by the White House. And now we're back to talk about the end of an era. Incredible. If I do say so myself, one of my favorite readings of anything on this channel. Yeah. Well, thank you. Somebody called it booty residue in the comment section. I was like, now that's just nasty. Why it gotta be booty residue? That's just rude. Very cat in the hat, very hickory dickory dock. Yeah. Very I am a tea kettle, short and stout. Now, see, that's just nasty. Shout out to everybody who's here. Hit the like button, share the live. Well, we've gotten through the initial we've gotten through the initial outbreak, okay? We've gotten through the initial outbreak because we certainly did not ask for this much Drake. It really does feel like, an infection. If I do say so myself, but we've all quarantined like we're supposed to, so that's good. That's just fantastic. Um, yeah. So, once you survive the initial, release of the contaminant, you immediately look back and then you look forward. The boy been clowned and the music has been resoundingly trashed. Crickets. Crickets, crickets. I will body slam that man if he tries to get near her front door. You hear me? Picture me launching out of the bushes and body slamming the boy right there on the sidewalk. I think the fuck not. Mm-mm. Nice little treat, isn't it? Nice little treat. Jack Dan says the mid three. That's what that was. Mid, skip, skip, shebang. Woo! Oh, my goodness gracious, my goodness gracious. I would really love to do another reading of lyrics, but that would require me to go through them. And, you know, uh, today was a day of peace and tranquility. A couple people shouted out some songs in the live last night, and I caught their comments in the replay. And I went and looked at the songs, and they were like, they don't rise to the level of shebang. They gotta, we only do lateral. The lateral move is the least, move that we will do here. Shebang is my favorite. That is going to be funny for a long, long time. And I woke up this morning at about 6:30 and I thought to myself, I could take that section of the live and really like make it a storybook format with graphics, and it would probably take me 5 or 6 hours. And I was like, I don't feel like doing that on with my Saturday. So, took my coffee and my cat and I went back up to my bed. Shebang is a terrible track and the lyrics are worse. And we laughed really, really hard last night. Oh my goodness gracious. Catchy like a grenade, but definitely catchy. Yeah, he ain't got not a penny of revenue out of me. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Shout out to Kiki for taking one for the team. He ain't got a lick of revenue out of me, and I aim to keep it that way. I'm not gonna watch his videos. The thumbnails were revealing enough. I looked at the thumbnails of the videos, and I was like, "Gee, this man just boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy." He couldn't catch it if you walked up to him and handed it to him in his hands. That boy is thick. He's just thick in the head. I've gone my whole goddamn life. I'm 48 years old. Why would I engage in that kind of risky behavior now at my age? That's not smart, okay? Yeah, I have no desire. I have no desire. And I'm certain I've got enough, Drake jizz guzzlers trying to hop in the comments upset. You people are really fucking stupid and you should be embarrassed at how dumb you are. Yeah. So let's start to get into it. There's a lot of people here. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button, share the live. If you are a member, a YouTube member of the AFL, there is an important note on the posts tab. So if you could skedaddle your beautiful, wonderful self over there, take a look at it. If you've already seen it or already left a comment, then like it. If you've seen it but not left a comment, then leave a comment of some kind so that more members will see it. I would appreciate it very much. And the link is the pinned comment for anybody who hasn't seen it. Hello, beautiful. I have not seen it, and I don't, I'm 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 known to use a plugin. I don't have him blocked, I don't think anywhere. I don't have him in blocked terms, I don't think anywhere. Maybe on Threads I do, but I never open Threads. So, it's just too much to manage. But, I saw one TikTok, I immediately told TikTok, "I don't like this." TikTok said, "Okay, we'll show you less of this." Yeah, I don't wanna see it, I don't wanna hear it. I've enjoyed reading things. You all know that I'm preferential to reading my news anyway. So I have enjoyed reading the things, and we've got a little thread going of the Drake memes and headlines and some select articles. And I felt like this was, an accurate representation of kind of the consensus that's out there right now. He's been memeified, clipified, as Kiki pointed out in their live, that it sounded really, really prime for click content, and clipped content. Um, but you see the Washington Post, who asked for this much Drake? The Los Angeles Times breaking down Drake's Timu haul of an album. The Guardian, Drake, Iceman, Maid of Honor, Habibti review. Triple album comeback is a boring, bloated disaster. I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty lucky. I mean, there are times when YouTube will be like, if I go and watch something by um We Are Deciphered or Moni or Kiki or um Curtis King or Starsky, it will be like, "Oh, you must wanna," and I'm like, "I don't," and it's like, "Okay." And then it moves on. I'm very fortunate because, Drake was never in my algo, because 'cause I'm not the target demographic, and because, as I've been saying to you all for 2 years, you need to make the algo your bitch and not be lazy about how you engage with social media. So, obviously, I've written 2 books. So that has changed somewhat, and then also, he's crossed from entertainment into politics, into law, into policy, and that is my newsfeed. Thank you, beautiful, for the contribution. Appreciate you kicking us off for the goal tonight. Down in Dixie says, but Drake fans told us last year he recouped and was no longer under a contract. Yeah, right. That's ridiculous. Because deliverables can be more than one thing. So far, seems like the high points are mostly production related. Many consider Iceman to be the worst of the three. Wow, interesting. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the intelligent people. It's 429 people here. We can do better. And 218 likes. Here's a little titty shake for you, if that makes you feel better. Okay, now that's the nice one. Now, if you want to play with me, Okay, you want to play in my face? I can escalate. I can escalate into a bad place. Case in point. You want to see rappers partially or completely nicky? No, you don't. Hit the like button. Problem solved. So great. So great. That man released about 100 songs in 2 years. Just why? Well, there's also a bunch of media that's out about why did Drake release 3 albums? We talked about it here last night. We're gonna talk about it all again today, okay? The consensus seems to be that Drake delivered, uh, these 3 albums to help hasten the end of his contract with UMG. One of the things that I pointed out last night is that contracts are very, 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 very technical. And there are artists who have tried to turn in albums or have turned in albums and their label has said this is great, this is beautiful. It doesn't count for your contract. But this is great. Let's do all the things, but it doesn't it if you would see page 653 subsection 4D paragraph 6. So we don't know. Okay, we don't know. But if we go ahead and go along with the rising theory right now, he did this so that he can expedite the getting out of his contract process. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Whatever. Somebody said very early on in the chat, uh, the end of the UMG Drake UMG era feels a lot like right now, except for much, much worse. Personally, I think what Drake wants to do is get out of the 360 deal and then negotiate a Kendrick deal. And I made that video over a year ago. Drake wants Kendrick's deal. This is when Drake petitioned the court for Kendrick's contract. We had a bunch of I think we had 2 or 3 lives in a day or something. It was crazy times. He started petitioning the court for access to a bunch of things, and one of the things was Kendrick's contract and just everything that had happened up to that point. Bless you, beautiful. The things that he was, pleading in his lawsuit. I said, "This man is bitter." Excuse me, he is bitter that Kenny has a better contract, and if you will recall, because I do, because I wrote 2 books about this biscuit head ass man trying to fuck the First Amendment for all of us in America, um, Drake and UMG had come to an agreement that Drake would get a mostly redacted version of Kendrick's contract that would directly address some of the very specific questions or allegations, I should say, that Drake was making in his lawsuit about UMG having the opportunity to veto any lyric, not release a song if they determined that it was defamatory. And he based that off of UMG's standard contract. So UMG has a standard contract. That is their kind of like baseline for a contract. People like Kendrick and Drake don't have standard contracts, but the contracts that they do have are built off of the standard contract. So he was basically playing a game. Like, well, the standard contract says it, so it must be in Kendrick's contract. So UMG gave Drake the contract as they had agreed upon. And when it didn't say what Drake argued that it said, he filed a petition to the court for Kendrick's completely unredacted contract. That was not ruled on because the case was dismissed. I'm gonna get there. I've said all of that to say I guess I'm there now. I've said all of that to say that if you saw my Joker video yesterday, I really do feel like it is the best analogy that I can come up with for the Drake Kendrick situation that we have seen over the past 2 years, and maybe it was longer than that. Y'all could say, "Oh, it started a long time ago." That's fine. I've been paying attention for 2 years, and I do think that even if this was pre-existing, which I know that it was, I think that in the past 2 years, it's evolved into a new place, which is that Drake wants to be the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker. Kendrick in this analogy is Batman. Um, Batman does not need the Joker. The Joker needs Batman. He has this obsession with Kendrick, and he's gonna be fixated on it for a while, and the evidence of that is his ir I what's the word that I wanna use? His irrational, weirdo, constant obsession with Rihanna. There is an air that Drake gives and that definitely comes through when you've read every single document in his lawsuit more than twice. He cannot fathom that Kendrick Lamar is better than him, more advantaged than him, smarter than him, more business savvy than him, more beloved than him. So I think that he wants to get out of that 360, wants to put that to bed, and then turn around to UMG and say, I want I want what he has or better. And UMG is probably going to say no. At his first demands, they're going to be like, no. No, I did not. That's not true. Nope, that's not true. Sorry. That's not true. The Batman is not motivated by anything that the Joker does. Batman does not exist because the Joker exists. Their motivations come from 2 completely different places. They are very definitely not. And if you have anything more to say about it, you can go over to that video and leave your lengthy comment. Respectfully, I won't respond to it, but knock yourself out. I love you too, beautiful. Well, we'll find out, right? We'll find out. Kim and Oak, I probably pronounced that wrong and I apologize. Says if UMG is only distributing for Kendrick now, same for J. Cole, Drake just isn't good at doing business. Well, we'll see. UMG is a business. So, if they can negotiate a contract that they feel is beneficial to them with anybody, they are going to do that. They are not going to let Drake make them his bitch. They don't have any motivation to do that. They don't have any motivation to do that. Does nobody in the chat have faith? Here's something that I haven't seen anybody say. Y'all don't think Drake could stand up his own distribution entity for his music? You don't think Drake could start his own thing and become UMG's competition? Now, come on now. Let me get off my argument now. You just ain't got no faith in the boy now. Come on now. Damn. Now that's just not nice. OVO's LLC. That's just not nice. No, he seems lazy. He has abs. How dare you? Nope. Nope. Too lazy. Hell no. No. No, because he's bad with money and contracts. That's something that you can address in a contract. They can pull a stake and bake in mandatory arbitration. You think these people aren't smart? Come on now. Look, I did that just on the fly. Hell to the nah. Negative. He could, but that would require work. No, 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 no. It has not been confirmed that he is done with UMG. And, and that's why I said hasten the end of. We don't know what the deliverables are for Drake's contract, but they're not just albums. Period. So I'm sure he has shortened the length of time that he would traditionally take to meet all of his deliverables, but we don't know what all of those deliverables are. They are very complicated. We don't know if all 3 albums count as deliverables. There are artists that have tried it before, and those albums have been distributed, but they did not count as a contractual deliverable. We don't know. We're just for funsies having a conversation because at the very least, people seem to agree. People on both sides of the aisle seem to agree that this was done to hasten the end of his contract. But don't nobody here have faith for Drake to become the next Lucian Grange. How rude. Mm, 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 mm. Mean. I mean, he's Drake. He generates money. Let's not pretend he doesn't generate money. Damn. He can't send an email properly? Now that's just that, hater. Drake can't sing, can't rap, and can't write, but he could have done indie distribution. I mean, he could. Oh, I thought you were done. Just checking. Right. There's Drake under contract, there's Frozen Moments contract with UMG, so there's probably more than one contract and there's definitely more than one deliverable. I'm in the chat too, beloved. I'm right here. I'm not gonna pretend I don't see it. Well, of course he's not smart enough to manage it on his own. My goodness gracious. I'm not talking about Drake actually being the person to run the thing. That's absurd. Let's be reasonable here, okay? Let's set some reasonable expectations here. But y'all don't see a world in which Drake decides he's going to be the one to break the standard operating distribution machine that favors corporations instead of artists? You don't think he's going to be the guy to do that? I can hear crickets in the back of my head. Because he's done so well by his own artists. What now? Pessimist. He doesn't seem to listen to his people. I think he does listen to his people. I don't think his people tell him the truth. That's the problem. You don't think he's going to start the next Rock Nation? Now that's just me now. Good God Almighty. We're not even going to have this conversation, number one, but number two, no, it wasn't. The end. Period. Yeah, we're talking about Owl Nation. Yeah, maybe Drake has a plan. Maybe Drake has a plan to break the status quo and do something to benefit all artists. Maybe he'll start stealing artists, signing them to distribution deals. Foul Nation is very good. I appreciate that because I'm sick and tired of of them beating up on owls. Owls are really sacred. Child, please. Well, okay. I'm starting to feel a little dumb now. Sorry, OV hoes. I tried. I tried for your boy. Chat's not having it, and I have self-respect, so there we go. He just needs their songs, no intent to actually distribute. Only signs them if they write his raps. Oh my God. He'll only sign them to sweatshop deals. Ooh, my goodness. Mm. He will try because he's trying to do what Kendrick is doing. Vision. It's so disrespectful. It really genuinely hurts my heart. That's research that I did once upon a time. I don't have an answer that I'm willing to stand on right now. I really, really glanced at this and thought that it said He never sent emails promoting Pimple. And I was like, why would somebody call themselves Pimple? So we're just going to move on from that. The fuck he is. You don't think the same man who is suing to fuck the First Amendment for rap isn't also going to start an independent thing to benefit artists? Huh? Where they get paid in Bitcoin? You don't think so? You know, this is one of the mistakes that people make. The belief that you have to constantly be flooding the market with product instead of having a longer term goal and vision for dropping product that is so fucking pure that it carries you. We touched on this the other night when we talked about output versus return and what Drake's track number and album number output has been compared to Kendrick's, and then comparing that to their returns. Drake has put out more music, period, by miles. Kendrick has reaped more benefits, accolades, money, and opportunities, putting out less music. And one of the things that I am actually constantly, I think one of my most consistent pieces of advice to a client when they are pushing something in the public is don't push anything else. Don't push empty shit because people will start to glaze over when they see you come up. When what you want is for when they see you come up on social media, on television, in their email, is you want them to snap to attention because you're teaching them that you only reach them when you have something relevant for them. That is a much better strategy than flood them, flood them, flood them, flood them, flood them. And there's market research about the disposable income and disposable attention that you tap into at that level of an adult versus the level and age of a young person or a younger adult who you do have to flood because they have less disposable income but more disposable time. I was in my bag for that one, so you know. You're welcome. Since we've got over 600 people in here, let's get them likes up. Appreciate you all. It's good to see you. Hello, Miss Apsa and the lusciously lexiconic looters. Apsa After Dark. I am sat. We getting there. We getting there. Oversaturation can kill a product. It can kill a message. It can kill a messenger. For damn sure. Right. So they're running a whole global company. Aside from PG Lang, they have a global company. And they're busy. And they're obviously fine. So they're living in the life of artistic luxury right now, which is to pick projects that you care about, pick projects that you have the time to invest in, to make them the best that you can make them before you have to deliver them, and to do the things that you want to do and not the things that you have to do to make a bag. That's, no pun intended, a euphoric place to exist. It's also your greatest indicator that somebody has financial freedom and somebody else doesn't. And financial freedom is not based on being wealthy. So if you don't know what the term financial freedom means, go look it up because it's not about wealth. It's about agency. It's about having the agency and the freedom and the control to do what you want when you want to do it. And that's not just I mean, there are a lot of people who are just like, "You're a Drake hater and you're a Kendrick defender and da 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 da," and I'm not trying to be, cute about it, but not everybody is concerned with being famous, right? Doing what you wanna do when you do it also means being with your family, being in community, being with yourself, spending time not thinking about, "Oh god, I got this contract, I gotta deliver this thing." Like, that is a level of mental freedom and just agency and joy in life. Man's at Disneyland. He's also working on the World Cup. I ain't gonna hold you, fam. Seems pretty nice to me. So you know, small growth is smart. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So people saying, well, they're not growing exponentially and they haven't signed such and such. Well, what have they done since? They don't need to. That's why PG Lang exists. That's why you create your own entities, is to protect your assets, your product, your artistic freedom, and yourself, the person. That's why you do that. Not so that you are spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the office or in the studio having to grind as an independent artist. It's about control, agency, and financial freedom. And smart growth is just that, smart growth. Organic growth is growth that lends itself towards longevity. You're not doing something for the moment, for the fad. You don't let an excitement turn into a balloon that will pop at some point in time and cause a problem for you in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if PG Lang is an all cash business. I really wouldn't be surprised. And that's a fucking flex. We got credit, but we don't have debt. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has considered that. But again, no corporation is going to walk away from a contract that they can make money off of. Whether the person is annoying or not, they don't care. They don't care. They will use everything that they have learned about Drake and pour that into whatever contract is next. And he'll either sign it or he won't. Or he'll take it somewhere else. Say, give me a sweetheart deal. Now, see again, you all just shortchanging the boy now. He has multiple streams of income. He gambles. That counts as income. He sells $200 bottle perfume. That's a diversification. You forgot that he has a lifestyle brand and a lifestyle line. He got the Amazon warehouse now. You ain't gonna give him credit for his little Amazon warehouse. He got body pillows. He got pooper scoopers. He got dog poop bags. Yeah. That seems pretty diversified to me. Technically, it counts. He has multiple streams of income. He gambles. He sells poop bags. Okay. Okay. You wanna rob a bank? He got a face mask for you. Yeah. You can rob a bank looking like Drake. You don't want a bottle of summer mink? Why does that sound so stupid? Summer mink. Why does the cologne sound stupid? Uses watches for currency, for other things. I have no idea. Okay, this is just, you are all just brutal towards this man now. Sounds like sweaty ferret. Damn it. Summer mink sounds disgusting. Don't mink have a pretty strong musk? I don't know why you got me. Why you ask me? Summer mink? Oh God, okay, let me find out. Jesus, my goddamn Google search be crazy some weeks. Do minks stink like ferrets? Apparently, this is a common question. Yes, but only when they are stressed. So, yeah. Babe, all I do is think about words and the order that they're in. That's a lot of my job is thinking about words and the order that they're in. Summer mink. Because who the hell wears mink in the summer? Well, obviously, Iceman does. Huh. Ooh, ooh, burn, burn. You ain't got no vision. Drake got all the vision. You ain't got no vision.
I study rap battles for a living.
Minks, ferrets, weasels, vole, coal. Absent 5. I can't believe you. Wow, that talk about a word association. That is a word association for your ass right there. Oh, congratulations to you. This is really genius. This is really, really fucking genius. Mhm. Mm. I thought I had the vowel quickly at hand, but I don't see it. Uh-uh. No, it doesn't. It definitely sounds like Crody wrote it. Mink, Scotland, slang, derogatory, plural, minx. A person with poor personal hygiene, a smelly person. Jesus Christ. This is how I know Drake does not work with professionals. You leave us out of it. You leave us out of it now. How dare you? How dare you? I'm sorry, but summer mink sounds like a gynecological condition. How dare you? How dare you? You take that back. You leave us and our poom pooms out of it. We didn't do nothing. Well, now you know where it comes from. My great grandmother used to call funky people bow minks. Now you know. That is, I'm a genealogist, so I'm actually geeking out right now because I can see your picture. I'm geeking out right now, just thinking about history and migration and immigration and all of those things. Anyway, so yeah, he has diversified income. I didn't expect the cologne to cause this much of a stir. This is frying me. You never know what the chat is gonna is gonna hone in on, okay? Yeah, because it's part of his luxury brand. Drake has a brand that is considered a luxury brand, and it's not just, cologne. There are other things, I can't remember what they are. It's very sparse and really just kind of lame to me. Um, White Noise says, "But even just the word mink in this context is trying to play on the luxury association of a mink coat. Who is wearing a fur coat in the summer? An Iceman." Yeah, his coming was foretold. His coming was foretold. He thinks it's edgy to wear, a puffer jacket in 80-degree weather. Couldn't be me. $50 candles. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, beautiful. Imagine dabbing your neck with summer mink. I don't want to dab my neck with anything having to do with Drake. Okay. I'm not a celebrity scent kind of person. I like a good imported ode and I'm good to go. Yeah. He wants to be cool, but it's not a natural part of his makeup. You know what is really crazy about this call P comment? When I first read what it says on Google, yes, but only when they're stressed. I almost said, so I guess if he's not stressing them out before he kills them to put them in the cologne, it's fine. But then I remembered they're not actually minks in the cologne. Let's not freak people out. As far as we know, there are no actual minks in Drake's cologne. No, fuck that. No, that's not true. No, 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 don't believe the stereotypes. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Canada is big. There are places there that are very cold, and mostly cold all the time. But Canada, Canada proper, that shit gets hot. So, yeah. I only buy it from brown people from other countries. It's a sticking point for me, honestly. Frozen Chitlin says Drake is Biff from Back to the Future. Maybe he is. That's an interesting comparison. It's called Summer Mink, and that sent the chat spiraling. Chat was not happy about that name at all. That's nasty. Chitlins never smell good. I'm not gonna argue with anybody about it. I said what I said. I don't care what you do to a chitlin, it never smells good. Yeah, I'm pretty strict about that. And the nice thing is they come in big bottles. They'll last you for a minute even if you're using them every day. Yeah, I'm addicted. I that's part of my ritual. I love it. Game recognized game. So, if Drake can, get out of his contract with UMG and he can negotiate a distribution deal, um I think the thing that people need to realize is that going forward, if this is the plan, and again, we don't know, right? And contracts are confidential. So let's remember that. I often don't even believe what somebody says about what's in their contract if I haven't seen the document. So, um, but if that's the plan, is to be an independent artist, I think a lot of OVOs think that that means he's going to become richer going forward. And that's not true. He's under a 360 deal with UMG. And if he leaves that deal, which he's totally entitled to do, he still needs that 360 degrees of support. Now, he can break it up. He would have the autonomy to do that. He would have the autonomy to say, I'm going to work with such and such for this, and I'm going to work with such and such for that, and I'm going to work for such and such with this. He's still going to have to pay them. Might he make more money going forward? He might. But he is not a one-stop machine. He's going to have to make investments that in him that UMG previously made for him. And that comes out of his pocket. Yeah, I mean, I think he thinks he can get by with gimmicks, you know? He can get by with gimmicks, and I think that he thinks that the state of the internet is stable enough and he's run game enough that he can just float on that in the future. When in reality, the state of the internet and the attention economy is volatile as fuck. And perpetual motion is theory. Everything slows down and drops off. So, and even if he has, successfully submitted deliverables that count towards his contract, we talked about this the other night, but I'm gonna say it again. This is not the Frank Ocean move. Frank Ocean's move was different. There were different components involved. It's not the same thing. And we're not gonna bump, you know, what Frank Ocean did was up here. What Drake is doing is down here. We're not gonna inflate a delivery of 3 albums to have it equate what Frank Ocean did. That's bullshit. I said it a year ago, so go ahead and dare to say it. I said it a year ago, I said it several times. He wants to see it in writing. I think it's outrageous to him that Kendrick's contract doesn't have the same kind of restraints on it that Drake's does. I think he thinks it is outrageous. And Lucian also said it in a declaration. He's suing because he doesn't like his contract, and he's trying to use this whole lawsuit as leverage. I think he was using it as a lot of things. He was trying to use it as a lot of things. Revenge, spite, attempts to get some leverage. But I think, spite was the highest thing on the list. Was I'm gonna go scorched earth. I think Drake can't fucking stand UMG. And I think that largely he doesn't have anybody to blame but himself, but he's never gonna blame himself because Drake doesn't can't take back accountability for shit. He takes accountability for nothing. It's everybody else's fault. So I don't think he can fucking stand UMG. And I think he's got this perfect scenario in his head that he's gonna execute once this contract is over. And I mean, that remains to be seen, but they will always have more leverage than him, and they don't need him. UMG is not gonna have a deficit if Drake leaves. Mhm. It is annoying. And even when people are like, "You're such a hater," and blah, 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 there were a couple people, who had their panties in a whole bunch over the past couple videos that I've done, and it's just like, "This is a dumb take, blah, 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 blah," and it's like, "No, it's not, first of all, and you look like a dumbass trying to leave this kind of a comment." I just don't understand the glazing at all costs by any means necessary. I mean, I do understand it, but rhetorically speaking, I'm like, "Y'all need to get the fuck over yourselves." And I'm not responsible if he's your king and you wanna uphold him, You go ahead and you do that. But in this house, there are no kings. I'm not responsible for upholding your king. I'm also well within my right to fucking hate this nigga. Because he's trying to fuck black art and the First Amendment for everybody. Everybody, including your dumb ass. I don't give a shit if you wake up every morning and spray yourself with summer mink. That's your business. Nickelodeon coming through with the 5 memberships gifted to the chat. Thank you. Oh, I did say that, didn't I? Man, I really felt like I was a bar at the time, too. I meant that with my whole soul. I really did. I still do. I never will. I'm not going to the mall like, excuse me, do you have summer mink? Because I just know, first of all, I would not waste my time doing that. But second of all, don't let them turn around and be like, oh, I've not heard of that one before. Who's that by? Drake. Oh, let me look in the back. Okay, I'm not gonna humiliate myself with that, beloved. I don't want to smell that shit. I, we're not about to go do a field piece on Drake's cologne. Fuck that nigga. Oh god, I'm not sure if you're gonna make it to the end of this chat. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if you're gonna make it to the end of this chat or not. Like really, the jury's out. Okay, okay, but the jury is the chat, and I am the foreperson. So don't start none, won't be none. It's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And then they turn around like, I'm so sorry. No, we don't. But you know what? If you go to the other side of the mall near the JC Penney, there's a cologne kiosk there. Maybe they can help you. Oh, the cologne kiosk outside the JC Penney. Thanks. Okay. You know what? I'm going to defend Hot Topic in this moment. I'm going to defend Hot Topic in this moment and say, no, they would not do that. You could wear one of his masks while inquiring. I'm not trying to get tackled by mall security because they think I'm a fucking terrorist, okay? I think that right there would set off every fucking alert possible. Walking into a mall with a Drake mask on. Okay? Okay, talking about where can I find Drake's Summer Mint cologne? They'd be like, yeah, this one right here. We don't know what is going on, but we're all in danger right now. This is not normal. There's definitely a kiosk that would stoop that low. Kiosks love the manosphere. I'm calling security. I mean, I see somebody walk into a mall with a Drake mask on. First of all, I'm hightailing it to a door and I'm calling somebody. I'm not going to have it on my conscience that something happened after I got myself to safety. Nah. Yes, I know how this sounds. You all can decide yourselves if it's a threat. I'm just letting you know that he went in the west entrance of the Westfield Mall. Okay, muttering something about what did I miss, and he needs Drake's cologne. I ain't gonna hold you. A Drake mask, luxurious hair, and titties. Please do not forget the BBL costume. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Try explaining that to 911. Try explaining that to 911. Mm, 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 mm. Nasty. Nasty. Yeah, but I don't want it on my conscience though, because that's clearly somebody's wearing a suicide vest or is about to shoot up the mall. That's not normal. They say, see something, say something. I'm gonna say something on that one. I'm gonna say something. Pick me. I saw it. Him. Meanwhile, you got white people walking by like, that's so funny. Oh my God, look, he's dressed like Drake. No, 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 no. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Nope. Oh, well, you're gonna get a shout out anyway. I don't need a shout out. Well, here you are, right on screen. I just got a paycheck. Aw, and this is the first APSA After Dark I've made. Aw, love y'all. We love you too, beautiful. I mean, I don't want to, stereotype anybody, but yeah, yeah, I think that's problematic behavior. I think that's a cry for help. All the non-white folks are like, I'm out. Isn't it though? Isn't it? Look at it. Yeah. Yep. I know. I know, I know. So, I don't think we're gonna see much of a change. I don't believe there's some secret album that he's gonna drop that's gonna be better than this bullshit. Um, he'll have more agency, and who knows, he may drop more frequently because 'cause he'll have the ability to just do that whenever he wants to. Are you excited for that? Aren't you excited for Drake getting an inspiration? Going into the studio and then just instantly releasing it to you. Aren't you excited for that? Huh? Hmm? Well, you're just a party pooper. Yeah, that was a stupid argument. Wow. 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 You're so dramatic. That is an alternative name. Drake is going to do a stadium tour next. I was thinking about this earlier today. I don't think Drake is going to go on tour. I would be shocked if Drake goes on tour. Because first of all, there are no stadium worthy bops on any one of those albums. So it'd have to be the fucking nostalgia tour. Okay? Like first 3 albums or some shit because nobody's gonna go to that. The other issue is, and I know a lot of people have just kind of tapped out of this, but the price of fuel for airlines is insane. Ticket prices are stupid. So the cost to travel a show has skyrocketed, and that gets passed on to the consumer, and consumers don't have money for that. They don't. And we saw what happened his last tour. They were selling tickets like 2 for $22, and it was not even stadiums, if I recall. I was literally just thinking about this. Allegedly, he said that he would make up those dates. Yes, he did. Yeah, he had to cancel shows. He said it was for a scheduling conflict, which is just dumb. Just dumb. Nobody believes that. How do you have a scheduling conflict with your fucking tour? What you should have said was family emergency or unforeseen emergency, but scheduling conflict? You need to live stream with an incel? Is that the scheduling conflict? Nobody believes that. That's a stupid thing to say. He could do that, but I think, you know, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of tours. I think what's already been locked and loaded and for sure is selling well, those will happen. Um, and the artist will just have to eat the cost of flying around every fucking where. But somebody who's just gonna be like, "You know what? I'm gonna go on tour." No, you're not. No, you're not. It's, you know, a lot of music these days is mid, and people accept mid and they're excited by mid and they pay money to see mid. But there is a real trickle down effect that is happening. Americans cannot afford to get to work, let alone pay all the bills. So when you're talking about disposable income and priorities for disposable income, you wanting to go to a concert, your kid wanting to go to a concert are not priorities, especially when the tickets are like 300, $400 and you're in the nosebleeds because jet fuel has fucking skyrocketed and the artist flies everywhere. Gas has skyrocketed and the band is on a bus. And there's rigs moving the stage around everywhere. The shit has skyrocketed. And there's a lot of upfront investment that needs to be done in order to do a tour before you're selling any music or selling any tickets, excuse me. There's a huge investment for pre-production. He would not do well on tour. Not in America, for damn sure. I still say he needs to do a nostalgia tour in Asia. I don't know why the fuck he went to Australia is crazy to me, but I understand the demographic and they thought it was gonna work and it didn't. Go to Japan, do a run of shows. Even the most lackluster even the most lackluster tour, you cannot just slap together. There's too many entities that are involved and way too many components. You want some people with some disposable income, you wanna go and just sit somewhere and not have to pay to travel all over the place? Go somewhere where you can do 5, 10 shows. Maybe go another place you can do 5, 10 shows. But it ain't gonna be here. People don't have that kind of money. And it's only gonna get worse because people are running through all of their savings, which is less than a month, less than a month's pay on average for Americans. They're burning through their savings. Credit card debt is off the fucking charts. So this is all headed to a very bad place. And it's going to be peaking over the summer during the travel season where prices are higher anyway. So, yeah. This is the other thing that I was thinking about that is really, really fucking depressing is like, I think that that is, I think that what started off as maybe a gesture of goodwill or even a gimmick for, people who say Drake doesn't have a good bone in his body, but whether it was, started off as a gesture of goodwill towards somebody who was in need or it was gimmicky or for attention or whatever, it really has turned into something else that I think is so emblematic of how people view Drake. Because you will see the hundreds of people deep at Drake shows, and they all have signs. I need some money. I need some money. I need some money. On the one hand, it's like, uh, it's a depressing snapshot into the condition of society. On the other hand, it says a lot about how people view you. They're not here for your music. They're here on the off chance that you will see their sign, take pity on them, and give them a large sum of money. To me is crazy work. Crazy work. Do you have a point or nah? Because that's not a normal thing that people do. People say, read my gender reveal. We're about an hour and a half into this conversation, so you'd have to replay the conversation. It's a theoretical conversation. We're not that deeply invested in it. We don't know. Okay. Why would they drop him? No, this has been a conversation about contractual deliverables, ultimately, while also clowning the shit out of Drake and his cologne called Summer Mink, which the chat does not like. Resounding 0 out of 10. Oh, thank you, beautiful. Appreciate you. Yep, we got about half hour left to meet the goal. Y'all can do it. I believe in you. Drake's ego is too big to want to go to Asia without an attitude. It's not seen as impressive to sell out there than it is in the Western nations. Sure. Okay. I'll give you that. He could mix in a little bit of, Eastern Germany. I mean, not Eastern Germany, Eastern Europe. I'm sure they'd get a kick out of Drake. Yeah. I don't know. I don't wanna know. I don't know. I don't wanna know. Yeah, they have no reason to do that. I think people really need to, like, stop thinking in terms of petty spitefulness and start thinking in terms of measured, intelligent business decisions made by a corporation. That makes no sense whatsoever at all. He'll pull a Beyonce and only go to Poland? Doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, they don't care. They don't have standards. They don't care. They don't have standards. They don't know what the fuck good music is. What? That's perfect. It lines up perfectly. Yeah, when 75% of what you're rapping about is how much money you have, then I guess you are ATM Poppy. He's just so clueless and just so detached from reality. And I'm just so tired of one of the songs that somebody brought up in the chat last night when I did my dramatic reading of Shebang lyrics, was Cheetah Print, the song Cheetah Print. So I went and I looked up the lyrics and I thought to myself, this song is so stupid. Like, it's so stupid. And I've made it clear, okay, that I love a hoe banger. Okay. I said what I said. I love a hoe banger. Okay. There is music out there that will make me fucking do all kinds of shit. Okay. It's one of the things that I enjoy the most. Back it up on you? Oh, babe, I'm gonna back it up on you. Yeah, yep, 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 yep. I'm gonna have you pulling on your collar in the club a little bit. What can I say? Um, some of it's good music, some of it's just, silly lyrics with a great beat and, some 808s that the ass just cannot resist, but shake to. What do you want? But I was reading the lyrics and I just thought to myself, this is so stupid. This man is almost 40 years old. Oh, God, let me pull up the fucking lyrics. Drake and Sexy Red. Introduction to the song. Smack it, smack that ass. Smack that thick old ass. I almost broke my neck when Sex Appeal came on the first time. I was almost literally I really got in the shower slash bathtub to listen to Baby Keem's album for the first time. Like that was a smart decision. You know? D- I literally almost broke my fucking neck. Why? Why? Because that song possessed my whole body. That song possessed I was twerking in the shower, twerking on the sink in the shower. Oh my god, that was insane. Anyway, smack it, smack it, smack that ass. Smack that thick old ass. It gets better. It gets better. It's just warming up, okay? First. First thing, can I get consent? I'm a gentleman. Girl, your face an 8, and your ass is a 10. Girl, what's in that drink? It tastes like medicine. I hope when you get a chance, you watch last night's live. 'Cause I hope you when you get a chance, and thank you so much for the contribution, and it's really good to see you. We love you around these parts. Crap. Oh, this one he definitely wrote. He definitely wrote. Medicine, medicine. Don't even get me started on her. Don't even get me started on her. Ooh, child, I had the harshest words about Sexy Red last year. The harshest. I don't know why his mom is on the cover, but you are not the first person I've seen to ask that question. Okay. First thing, can I get consent? I'm a gentleman. Girl, your face is an 8 and your ass is a 10. Girl, what's in that drink? It tastes like medicine. I need a bad bitch to come take my innocence. Remind me that I'm him again and where I've been again. Rock hard since you stood up, girl, so please don't sit again. Remind me that I'm him again and where I've been again. Rock hard since you stood up, girl, so please don't sit again. Shit won't feel sweet again until we meet again. Bend over, touch your feet again. Pre chorus. I'll smack that ass until I leave a print. Smack that ass until it's cheetah print. I'll smack that ass until I leave a print. I'll smack that ass until it's cheetah print. Damn. Chorus. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack that big ol' ass. Second verse. Yeah, that shit there is very nice, girl. That shit is really, it's steak and syrup on a cherry ice, girl. Are you hearing him though? Are you hearing the genius? I'll repeat that. Yeah, that shit there is very nice, girl. That shit is really, it's steak and syrup on a cherry ice, girl. Tell me what you want and I'll tell you what I really want. Like I'm Scary Spice, girl. He's a bad bitch. He's a bad bitch. I'm just reading what it says on Genius. Don't come for me on accuracy, okay? That shit there is very nice, girl. That shit is really, it's steak and syrup on a cherry ice, girl. Tell me what you want, and I'll tell you what I really want. Like I'm Scary Spice, girl. I'ma bring you to a balcony out in paradise. Uh-huh. And then back to the pre-chorus. And then smack that ass until I leave a print. I'll smack that ass until it's cheetah print. I'll smack that ass until I leave a print. I'll smack that ass until it's cheetah print. Damn. We got a little under half hour to meet the goal. Back to the pre-chorus and the chorus again. Smack that ass, smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass, smack that big ol' ass. I. Verse number 3. Sexy red. God, I hate this gash so much. I said what I said. Clap with no hands. Aight, we gonna start with the basic step, ladies. Nice and slow. To the left, to the right. Throw it back now, y'all. One cheek this time. Two cheeks this time. Slow it down now, y'all. Now turn around. Aight, now it's time to go up on some now it's time to go up some notches. To the left, to the right. Take it back now, y'all. One smack this time. One smack this time. Left cheek, 2 pumps. Right cheek, 2 pumps. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Hey. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Hey. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Hey. Do you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the strip club and the hierarchy in the strip club. And let me tell you something right now. This bitch is not leading me in no motherfucking dance. She's not telling me where to step, where to slide, where to not a goddamn thing. Period. Yes, I know ball. Ain't no motherfucking way. You, the top bitch in the club, leading me in a motherfucking dance. No. Sorry, that was an aside. They really thought this was gonna go crazy in the club. And you know, when I read the lyrics, I was like, this sneaky motherfucker, he's really pulling out like everything he possibly can. Let's orchestrate a TikTok dance. Let's da 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 da. He's trying everything. Beloved. This roof looking mad jumpable right now. Now, don't do that now. Shebang. Hey, good to see you, Skeely. This drop was enough punishment for the weekend, so I am doing my part. Thank you, Tam. Appreciate you. In the club, we all cheat a print. Man, fuck her. Okay. Verse 4. Girl, it's your birthday. You can cry if you want to. You can walk in the mall. You can buy what you want to. Get high if you want to. Get fly if you want to. Sent you a drunk text. Reply if you want to. Play shy if you want to. Told you, I want you. Told you I clap with no hands. Outro. Smack that ass. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass. Smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I smack that ass. Smack it. Smack that big ol' ass. I'm gonna put you on game. Men. I'm gonna put you on game. This shit is a dick pic. We don't like those. Okay, we don't like dick pics. Okay, we don't like that. Women don't like to be objectified. Period. I don't care what your kink is. There's not a woman on the planet who likes to be objectified. You know what women like to do? Mesmerize. You have to make your objectification look like you're mesmerized by the aspects of her that you are objectifying. Because if you just objectify her like a blow up sex doll, she's not going to fuck you. Okay? You're welcome. Worship me or leave. I need to see you like stumble a little bit. I need to know your equilibrium is kind of fucked up. Yep. Yeah, I can't help with that. I can't help with that. Correct. Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. This is 43 version of a musical dick pic, and I don't want any of it. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of stuff on there. You know, he said he was Aiden Ross before Aiden Ross was Aiden Ross. So, fuck Drake. I'm not going to answer this question. I really did think about it. I really did consider it. I'm not going to answer this question. This is the opposite of an ass shaking song. Yeah, first of all, you ain't going to tell me what to do, ho. These two together couldn't tell me to do a motherfucking thing. Period. Nope. 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 No. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This song makes a booty shrivel is crazy. Good job, everybody. He was aiding Ross in streams before Aiden Ross streamed. Right. So, yay. I see the chat is trying to help out Demetrius. See? Afro butterfly at Demetrius. So the bruising process, a shifting of fate. Good to see you, beautiful. Says at Demetrius. Number one, your innocence, love. Your innocent love. Number two, I wish him luck in finding someone that light with a big butt. See, now I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't even gonna go there. I wasn't gonna say it. I was thinking it. I was definitely thinking it. Demetrius says, see, I was over here thinking tiger print makes more sense. If that's what he want to do to a child, you can keep it. A man who hits my ass hard enough to bruise is getting his clock fucking cleaned. Yeah, we gonna have a problem. We gonna have a problem. Kiki. Kiki says he punching her ass cheeks. That is horrible. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I it just doesn't do it for me. Okay, it doesn't do it for me. It's not my cup of tea, for sure. just disgusting. I don't want anything to do with 50 Shades of Drake. I don't. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. No, 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 no. Boo. Hiss. Same. Same. Wait, was this song on the album with his mama face? I believe so. Yes. I mean, since we're encroaching on After Dark, I think that Drake is one of those men who comes a lot but has never had an orgasm. And the way that he talks about women to me reinforces that. I had a relationship with somebody, and I realized once we started sleeping together that he had never had an orgasm before. And it was really kind of strangely like a really kind of mechanical process for him to just get the nut. We were in our 20s, so, calm down. Um, and I remember, like, literally during sex having this epiphany of, like, because I was trying to, like, figure out what the problem was, And I remember having this epiphany of, like, "Oh, I don't think he's ever had an orgasm before." And I think that at some point in time, we had, like, a brief chit chat about it, but it wasn't something that I made a big thing out of, and I think that he thought that there was no difference. And so I just made it my mission in life. I was successful. I was successful, okay? I made it my mission in life, um, to break him, and I did, and, it completely changed our sex life, and completely changed our level of just intimacy, period, because yeah, he had gone all that time, all that time, and had never had an orgasm, and I remember the first orgasm that he had, he probably remembers it too. I remember his reaction, I remember his after reaction, I remember his mind being blown. I mean, he was literally like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, "Wow." So that's what you were talking about? He was mind blown. Yeah. Drake reminds me of that, and the way that he talks about women reminds me of that, of somebody who just sees them as a mechanical part of, like, a mechanical equation, you know? Which is all solely about them. It's all about them, or him, I should say. But for men who are like that, it's all about them, 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 them. I wanna see your titties and your ass. Oh, my eyes are engaged and the endorphins are starting to I wanna feel this, I wanna touch this, I wanna stick my dick in your hole, and that's it. Once I've done that, I ejaculate. I'm done. But it's so played, and it's so tired, and it's really kinda sad and pathetic. If that's what your sex life is and you think that that's a brag? Okay. Okay. Sure. This is not uncommon. This is not uncommon, but they are not a myth. They are not a myth. Oh, me too. Me too. Just words can get me there. Just words can get me there. So, yeah, none of that music is impressive to me. The one of the narratives that I think is interesting about Drake is that people say that like Drake used to make music for women. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because I think his perspective has always been skewed. But I think what he had done in the past was that he was very aware of how women are portrayed in hip hop and R&B, and he chose the safe route of making music that wasn't objectionable to women. But I don't know that that's the same thing as making music for women, because I don't think Drake could independently figure out what women want or like if it's not money or some kind of, you know, transactional interaction. I don't think he could figure it out. Yeah, the music for those who confuse themselves with real women and think pussy is proof of something. It's not, beloved. Twilight Style, thank you, beautiful. Thank you so much for the support. Good night, Absa, and everyone. I'm going to be thinking about Summer Mink for a while. Yeah, that was a delightful little surprise in the chat, wasn't it? Do you think he's directionally gifted? I don't think so. I don't think he's directionally gifted at all. No. Mm-mm. He's always sneak dissing women. When you are objectifying them as sexual objects, you're dissing women. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Summer Mink, Summer's Eve. What a douche. But I'm bummed. Sure. I don't really know what that means, but okay. Yeah, I also can't deal with a man who is jealous of women. I can't do that. Grow up. Grow up. Confused, stupid, tomato. There were several problems. He was several things. I cannot. I cannot. I was out a couple weeks ago and went into a bar with my friend. They went into the restroom and I went up to the bar to order our drinks and I clocked this older gentleman sitting right at the corner of the bar. I had to pass him to get to, the spot where I could just put in an order at the bar. And I heard him under his breath, as I passed by, go, mm. And I just immediately got the sense that he's had a couple to drink. He wasn't doing anything. I just immediately was like, he's been drinking for a while. And I went over to my spot and he came over and was like, gave me a compliment and, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, no, no. First of all, I don't let people do that if I don't know you. I'm not taking the drink. Period. Period. I'm not doing that. But also, I'm not dealing with whatever the fuck this is for the rest of the night. I'm not dealing with your eyes on me. I'm not dealing with you trying to put your hands on me. And as a matter of fact, we got our drinks and went outside and sat outside because I was like, we're not even gonna, I'm not, no, nope, 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 nope. I'm disinterested in your excitement about the possibility of being able to objectify me because I happen to walk into the bar that you're in. Fuck you. Exhausted before it's even begun. Like, I don't have the energy for that. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Again, we've survived the initial, outbreak of the Drake. Maximum Drake, Avalanche Drake. Like, this is ridiculous. And, I don't really think I love to come here and spend time with you all and we chat shit and that's great. I don't really care about any of the headlines. I get my little mostly it's just been a cackle, but the actual discourse that is happening out there, I don't care. I did see the thing about his father and cancer. I don't care. It's not something that I can get in any kind of feelings about to pretend that like fuck Drake and fuck his creepy ass daddy too. Um I saw the thing about Spotify trying to put Drake in a position that he ain't he nope, wrong. I knew there was a problem, first of all, when they started talking about what Drake has done before the first 24 hours was even over. Why you so eager? Why can't you just calm down? So, and also, I don't care. I said several days ago, Drake is gonna go number 1 with shitty music. Put out a whole scripted video about it. So, this is all going the way that I assumed that it would go. And I will not go where a lot of people are going and saying, like, there was no strategy to this, there was no there's a lot of strategy that is being applied within these 3 albums, right? There's the, "Let's try and get this contract done sooner than 3 or 4 or 6 years from now. Let's create clippable content and use that pipeline for success." As Kiki pointed out, let's saturate the market to maximize streaming volume, right? All of that helps him, hit the number 1 positions, maximize streaming numbers and all of that, and meet the deliverables of his contractual obligations. So when people are just like, this was dumb and I don't believe that. It's too calculating and there are too many components that just everyday people can go, well, I recognize that in this package. I recognize this in this package. So that's all like to be expected, to be expected. But this is going to be a situation of short peaks, long valleys. Obviously, it's going to go number 1 its first week. It might be at the number 1 spot for a while. I don't really know. I don't really care. Um, I don't think that streaming numbers are things that can be relied upon anyway. I also don't have anything to refute them. And again, people know I don't care about number 1 position versus, 50 on the charts. I don't care. It's not something that I value. Ovi Hoes value it. Drake values it. It gives him assets for negotiating if he does need to negotiate a new, more diversified contract. It means things in that regard. It doesn't mean anything in terms of artistic value. But it's pretty much going the way. Once I realized there were 3 albums, It's pretty much going the way that I thought it would go. Sharp peaks, long valleys is probably what we can expect going forward. And if there's merch, that'll be interesting. If there's a tour, I'll be shocked. I will be shocked because it's just not a tour economy. It's too expensive, and not just for a record label or for people to go. People are making hard decisions. They have a symbiotic relationship. I don't give a fuck about neither one of them sorry ass men. Their contractual agreement obviously works for the both of them. You know what? It has been a while. Thank you so much. Zoom Zoom Van. BBL Drizzy. Yeah. Yep. So we'll see what happens. Any predictions? That'll be our last little topic. Any predictions about what you think we can expect to see from Drake next? He rolls out a Stanley tumbler. That's very specific. Or keeping with his racism era, a culturally gross igloo product to maximize the SKU potential. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, this is interesting. 3 shows to round out the drop. A steak live stream with one of the records playing in the background. That is interesting. 3 shows is interesting. That's interesting. I don't know what I mean, I guess. It's not gonna make a lot of money, but that's interesting. I did call it mockumentary music, didn't I? Man, we even do rags. I know people are really holding out for that. Oh, baby, he already has a bevy of videos. He dropped like a dozen music videos at the same time, at least. You didn't know? You ain't seen them? You ain't seen them? How could you miss them? Drake will bundle free gas to boost sales. That's crazy. Crash out on a Manosphere stream any minute now. We are not going to besmirch the name of the pop out. We'll say 3 shows. I addressed this about 15 minutes ago. A tour is not economically wise at this point in time. Period, no matter who you are. Unless you're Beyonce. Because people literally start savings accounts for Beyonce. Millions of people. Touring is not a good idea, but I covered that. We're into the last little bit. You think he's gonna try and have a show on Juneteenth? I really hope you're wrong. Yeah, Iceman episode 4 was like 10 music videos, and they're all on his YouTube now. I haven't watched them, but I've seen the screenshots, and they look like absolute fucking trash. He moves to Jamaica and pretends he's native. Yeah, that's the other thing about this project. There were a lot of voices. All of them were annoying. DJ Hack interview? Gross. Oh, he's not getting no money out of me. I'm not spending nothing, and I don't wanna see it. I'm not curious. I don't wanna know. Yeah, I don't care. But they're out there. Keep up with his filler appointments. You don't think he knows what Juneteenth is? Of course he knows what Juneteenth is. He learned about it when Kenny had the pop out. Of course he knows what it is. He just learned that lesson 2 years ago. Kiki says, "I felt like his voices were parodying people he don't like because he was doing shit he literally never did with his voice before." Yeah, weak parodies though. Weak parodies. We all attended that clinic together 2 years ago on Juneteenth. We were all in that clinic together, whether you signed up, whether you wanted to be there or not. We were all there for that class. We all knew. Little bitty one, did you talk about MJ's glove and the colonizing? I got here late. I'm sorry. This is probably, hopefully, the last conversation we are going to have about Drake because all I've done is talk about Drake this year. And yes, I did a scripted video about the glove. We had a live last night that I would say is worth your time. And that video is it's its own video on YouTube, but we watched it together during the live, and we had plenty of conversation about it at that time. I did another scripted video yesterday. So there's 2 scripted videos yesterday and a live where we dive into that. But the white power symbol, I did a dedicated video on that. I mean, he's been doing his version of, what he thinks is going hard in the paint. He had some big old spectacle in Toronto, and that was an investment. Um, he's got the music videos, he's got 3 albums. I don't think that he will do anything extreme at this point, um, because he doesn't need to. I think we'll see extreme when he's out in the desert all alone and he drops something and nobody talks about it. Drake is very good at manufacturing moments to get attention. He's actually quite masterful at it. So, he'll continue to do that. But pulling people's attention is not the same thing as pulling people's respect. You're welcome, beautiful. I didn't listen that closely. I'll tell you that. I didn't listen that closely, which is why I really do always appreciate your ear and your perspective. Kiki says, I agree the parodies were weak. It seemed like he was mocking Rocky, Kendrick, and possibly Cardi. Yeah, I guess I'd never connected the 2 until you said that. Because yes, he clearly was mocking them about things, but that just did not occur to me. The other thing that really kind of frustrates me about Drake is that if you're gonna do a bit, whatever the bit is, I want you to commit to the bit. Like, commit to the bit, convince me. And I don't think that he does that. I don't think he does it in the studio. I don't think he does it in music videos. Like the video that he did, what was it? What was his video that came out during the battle? with the van and the Hells Angels and all of that. There are times in there where I'm looking at him where I can tell by the expression on his face, he doesn't even believe himself in the scene. So, not a very good actor, you know? Family matters. Thank you. Kiki's like, "Well, his voice just sucks. That's why the impressions weren't that good." This is another issue that I have with, um, Drake is his voice is very boring to me. And any rapper who sounds exactly the same on every single song, I don't like them. Period. I don't wanna hear that every single time. And it takes practice and training to learn how to use your voice as an instrument. And I think this is where Kendrick Lamar is absolutely masterful. I think he is masterful at vocalization. And I think Drake is one of the worst ever. He relies on autotune a lot as well, and I fucking hate autotune. I think it is lazy, lazy, fucking lazy. Autotune should never be the main course. It should be a side. It should be a garnish. It should never be the main course. And if it's the main course, then to me, I look at you and assume you are a no talent having motherfucker who's trying to hide a horrible voice. And I don't want to hear that shit. And I didn't always feel that way about autotune because it wasn't so saturated into the culture. But this shit was the most obnoxious thing about listening to this project. It was just like, Jesus fucking Christ. This shit sounds just like the last one plus autotune. Thanks. I fucking hate it. We're gonna have to be co-captains. We're gonna have to be co-captains on that one because I'm just like, yeah, I will talk shit about you and your mama if autotune is your main course. That shit is cheap and annoying as fuck. And I will be glad when we are just out of that era of the sound because it is annoying. It's lazy. It's I these this fucking monotone sing-songy rap shit is just not it. Just not it. I do not wanna hear you sounding like this. If I came here every day and talked to you all like this, da 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 da, you all would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you talking that way? Da 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 da." And then if I added auto-tune, you'd be like, "She's lost her fucking mind." And then if I was like, "No, I'm a singer," you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" That's what the fuck he sounds like. It's absurd. I agree with this too. At least he shut the fuck up. This is pass fail. This is pass fail. That's it. It's not pass because you shut up. It's pass fail. It's annoying. It is fucking annoying. And I feel sorry for anybody who thinks that that's the best that music has to offer. Because obviously your parents had dog shit taste in music when you were growing up, or you would know better. That's not the best that music has to offer. That's not the best that hop has to offer. That's not the best that R&B and rap have to offer by fucking miles. That ain't it. He's a triple non-threat is hilarious. Yeah, it's just to me, it is the cheapest, worst music. It is the cheapest, worst music. I would rather hear you sing in your natural voice, even if you are not a singer. Because if it is art that is really coming from your soul, that will come through your performance. I truly believe that. And I respect that more than you trying to cut it and reshape it and cheat it into something that it's actually not. Because we're talking largely about, niggas in this conversation. And I know from my experience that niggas like whimsy. They like good music. They like to sing along to the song. They are spontaneous. They'll come up with a little doo-wop on their own and sing it out. And it comes from a part of them that is true and that is honest. And it doesn't matter what their voice sounds like. That to me is magic. That's art. That's something being transmitted. Autotune could fucking never. Literally never. Thank you. It's like the instrumental is the main course and the vocals are not even a side dish. It's the mint after the meal. The dried out mint at that. Mm-mm. Yeah, it very much is. It's cheap, it's lazy, and it's designed for people who, you know, it's designed for consumers that keep the machine going. It's designed for the status quo consumer, which is not us. And it really leans into that, like, you don't have to have any fucking talent. We've got enough tricks and gimmicks and AI and other technology. We'll just put you on. So you don't have to earn shit. You don't have to be vulnerable. You don't have to do any of that stuff. And I think it's really sad. Really sad. Oh, yeah, I went through this yesterday in last night's live. He can't compete with MJ, period, the end. Numbers don't have anything to do with it. It's absurd. Yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite thing, but I feel like if it is coming from a pure and honest place, it translates better than if you're just trying to artificially orchestrate a sound. Does not interest me. And there were certainly some kind of repetitive habits that Chance had on his last album where I was like, "Nigga, please stop doing that." Please stop doing that, but it didn't turn me off from listening to the album, and I think that album had really strong parts, and I think it had parts that it coulda definitely done without. that would have made it stronger. But I think also that, I don't fault people for their process as long as I feel like it's demonstrable that they're going through a process, right? If you're cycling the same bullshit, I'm not interested. But if you're in process, I'm interested in that and I have patience for that. And I Drake to me is somebody who's just cycling the same bullshit, whereas Chance is somebody who is, as an artist, in process. He is also somebody who is trying to figure out life and his life and is very open and vocal about that. He's not trying to put up some certain kind of persona and uphold that. He's not trying to pretend that everything is perfect and uphold that. Like he's a real person. Drake is too, but he hides behind persona more than anybody. But he's a real person going through real shit in life and he doesn't have it all figured out. And sometimes, yes, he straddles between what he wants to do artistically and what, the algo says will work. Like all of that to me was very present, but I accept it because I can see it being a part of a process. And we're not going to get that the next time. We're going to get whatever's next in his process. That's known as evolution. And we don't get that with Drake. We get zero evolution. And I'm disinterested in that in my real life. You got to be a person in process or I don't fuck with you. Oh, for sure. I mean, some of the most, I think, beautiful and emotionally compelling songs. Period. I'll stand on that forever because what he was transmitting was coming from the soul, and it is received differently. Drake is many things at one time. Drake is many things at one time. And also, I feel like, I've gotten this a lot over the past 36 hours. You're giving Drake too much credit. You're giving Drake too much credit. There's nothing wrong with giving somebody credit. Okay? When you have empirical evidence that points to a thing, you just look like a dumbass denying that. Period. And just because we haven't seen any evolution in Drake via his music or his personal life choices that we're aware of over the past couple years doesn't mean this nigga hasn't learned anything. Everybody learns, okay? Everybody learns by being taught by the environment around them how to survive the conditions that they care about the most. And the conditions that Drake cares about the most is making money. And so when we talk about how he's using this project and the various components that we can see he has injected into it, that is demonstrable of the fact that this motherfucker knows how to use the internet to make money. That's not giving him too much credit. It's just a fucking fact. Or any other thing where it's just like, that's just a fact. So that doesn't take away from the fact that he's also a fucking idiot. Doesn't take away from the fact that he's also a fucking misogynist. Doesn't take away from the fact that he's also a fucking colonizer. Doesn't take away from the fact that da, 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 da. Doesn't take away from the and so on and so forth. What Fateless said. What Fateless said. Not wanting to give someone you dislike credit is part of how we got into the current political climate. But that is a different conversation. Yeah, I mean they're overlapping, but it is a different conversation. Wait a minute now. I didn't say shit about lessons. You took what I said and gave it different meaning. I didn't say anything about lessons. I didn't say anything about learning for the purposes of doing better in the future. I said learning how to operate for the purposes of surviving the circumstance that you care about the most. And for anybody to say that Drake has not learned those things, that is horseshit. That's not true. We would not be sitting here having this conversation about this project if that were true. Everybody learns what works for them to preserve their own sense of psychological safety, even before physical safety. And psychological safety and physical safety are not the same thing. So everybody learns, okay? If you don't learn, you die. If you don't learn, you're houseless. If you don't learn, you're et cetera, et cetera. So let's not pretend that he hasn't. He has. Has he learned lessons that have made him a better person, a better artist, a better no, but that's not what I said. That's not what I said. All good. All good. Cause like I've said before, I will never give Drake more credit than he deserves. Never, ever, 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 ever. And that's why when people are like, he's pulling a Frank Ocean, I was like, don't you motherfucking dare say that he is pulling a Frank Ocean. We are not going to bump him up. Frank ganked him and then ganked him again. Left, came back, ganked him again. This is not the same thing. We're not going to give him that credit. I will never give him more credit than he deserves, but I won't irrationally dismiss, that the earth is round. There are people who are like, got a bunch of people who are like, oh, your take on, this was very interesting, but you're missing the fact that Drake has been doing this forever and it doesn't stand for white power. It stands for being the sixth god. And who the fuck are you talking to? In 2026, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You think the White House posted that shit because it means Toronto? Is that what you think? Don't insult my motherfucking intelligence. Don't miss a point to make a point. I can't stand motherfucking people like that. You think Drake has plausible deniability because he's been doing this for years? You think today in 2026, in context, I can see why you motherfuckers glaze for him, because you're as allergic to fucking context as he is, so you can have plausible deniability for your white supremacist horse shit. Anyway, that was an aside. So those are the kinds of things where I'm just like, just speed this up. Wake me in a week when the stupid conversations and the desperate reaching and trying to rationale and trying to position him, higher than he deserves to be. Like, I just can't wait for that. No, it's not this, it's that. And you're wrong because you don't know. Motherfucker, if you don't shut up and get the fuck out of my face. I'm not one of your little friends. I am not Boo Boo the Fool. Like, the layers are just miss me. Fucking miss me. Miss me, miss me, miss me, miss me, miss me. If it didn't mean that, then how come Drake didn't send a cease and desist to the White House? Because if he did, we would have known about it. If it didn't mean that, why doesn't he file a lawsuit? Kash Patel filed a lawsuit against The Atlantic in 72 hours. I'm sure Drake could beat him. But he hasn't sent a cease and desist. And it wasn't just this, they're using his music in their videos on TikTok. So if he's not okay with flirting with what it means in the context of today, why isn't he fighting against it being used in that way? That's a rhetorical fucking question. Again, I'm not Boo Boo the motherfucking fool. Nigga said, y'all tried to not see me. And then less than 24 hours later, the White House posted that shit and started doing his music, using his music, and it's fucking crickets from Drake. Really? Okay. Cool. I guess I have to wait for the deluxe to drop and the 90 songs and the real album before it makes sense to me. It ain't like he ain't got lawyers ready already. Fucking miss me. Drake doesn't have liberal fans. I'm a rest on that. Drake doesn't have liberal fans. And he hasn't given a fuck about the optics of him leaning into white supremacy for years. So he's never taken a stand before. He's a troll. He likes attention, whether it's positive attention or negative attention. But primarily, he's a fucking internet troll. And he has no fucking integrity. He doesn't stand for shit. Drake stands for absolutely nothing. He doesn't even stand for don't use rap in court anymore. So I don't know why the fuck you waste your time with that. Reason and stupid don't sit at the same table. We don't share snacks. We don't argue with dumb fucking people. That's a waste of your time. Period. But Drake doesn't have liberal fans. I don't give a fuck how it is. They think they define themselves. First of all, they certainly don't define themselves in that way. Drake fans don't give a fuck about politics, because if they gave a fuck about politics, they'd care about policy. If they cared about policy, they'd give a fuck about the First Amendment. Rhetorical. And then there's that. Like, we've been talking about this for almost a year since he announced the shit. And everybody was like, are you sure you want to call it that? Do you maybe want to call it anything other than that? And aside from rapping, Iceman, Nice Man bullshit, as Kiki pointed out, there is nothing really Iceman themed about the music itself. He could have changed the title. He could have changed the aesthetic. Beyonce fucking shelved an entire fucking visual album because it didn't rise to her standards. We're never going to see it. If we do get a visual album for Renaissance, it's going to be because she filmed a new one. He could have made different music videos wearing different clothes, standing in front of something other than ice blocks. Drake is a troll. And he doesn't have integrity. And so when people say, "This is a reach," or "How would he know?" or blah, 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 I don't accept that. He's one of the most perpetually online artists in the history of music. So I believe that he does fucking know. And I think that he gets high from it. I think Drake gets high from the edge. And then he's petty and he tries to weaponize our observations of him on the edge against us in his music. But he's a fucking troll and a gaslighter. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing in not changing the name of the album. He just needs his name in the headlines. So if he can get media coverage or people talking on social media about the title of the album, that's works great for him. It's called marketing. He didn't have to pay for that. He just had to keep it there. That would make him an artist. The boy is an influencer. Nobody is the villain in their own story. We've talked about this several times. And I know that it's hard, for people, but nobody is the villain in their own story. And if they are doing things that people judge as villainous, in their mind, there's a justification for it. It's not because they want to do it, it's because they have to do it. It's not because they want to do it, it's because such and such did something to them first. Clarence Thomas thinks it's his fucking mission and that he is successfully saving the soul of America. And we're all stupid. This leads right into the conversation that I had the other night, the conversation we had the other night about people with extreme privilege being able to alter reality around them because of the power or the influence that they have. And the more power, access, and influence they have, the more their bent reality conflicts with our reality. But it can also warp our reality too. So he's never the victim. I mean, he's never the aggressor. He's never the villain. He's the victim. And if he's hurting other people or going against rap rules, it's because the next man did it first. He's just defending himself. Nikki is just defending herself. She took the exact same stated path that Candace Owens took. Candace Owens left the Democratic Party because she wasn't getting enough attention and she wanted attention. So she became a fucking psychopath. Nicki Minaj just did an interview in Time Magazine. She didn't like the way she was being treated. She didn't feel like she was getting enough attention. And they give her attention. They make her feel special. That's the only reason why. Does not have shit to do with politics or policy. And they will fuck every American on policy to maintain attention and their perception of their own positional wealth. Truly hope I live long enough to see the day when he dies. Because he never should have been on the Supreme Court in the first place. But people don't believe women, and they sure the fuck don't believe black women. So who's surprised? All of them have that in common. I mean, Nicki Minaj, I think, might be clinically off. And this is part of it. They're exceptional, they're special, they're chosen. They're exceptional, special, or chosen because they're persecuted. There's a whole bunch of shit that people tell themselves to justify their behavior. And they will become cunning and wicked and cutthroat, vengeful by any means necessary motherfuckers. Hence, Nicki going MAGA and trying to use it to hurt other people. Drake filing his lawsuit, trying to fuck over all of Black art and the First Amendment for everybody in the United States. But he wouldn't be doing that if he hadn't been attacked. If UMG had not printed a map to his home. Blah, 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 blah. People do what works for them. And psychological safety and how you view yourself, the narrative you have in your own mind about yourself, is paramount to physical survival. We'll never forget. We'll never forget. Oh, Princey's awake and feeling vocal. Hi, Princey. Hi. You want to say hi to the people before I go? All right, come here. What did Meow Meow 1 2 3 4 think of the album? He was asleep in my closet. So apparently he wanted to get away from it. I got lipstick on your face. I got lipstick on your face. Mhm. Your nose is so pink. Look at your sleepy little face. Oh, boy. I got hair all over my face. I love him. I really do. He's such a sweet boy. He really is. All right, y'all. Well, this was a good chat. It was nice to hang out with you for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think probably for the most part, next week we'll be moved on to, bigger and better things than talking about this. But I really want to thank you all for your support this week. I really appreciate it. You know, to the members for responding to the note that's on the post tab, to everybody who's helped reach a chat goal this week, to everybody who has actually liked and commented, shared a video, hyped it. You made the work definitely worth it, because I definitely did have to lose some sleep this week to put out all the content that I put out, but you made it totally worth it, and, I really appreciate you. I feel like we were all emotionally support animals to each other during this dark and difficult time, and I extend that to other channels as well. Kiki's been doing the damn thing. Skipping DJ, I'm sure. Well, I saw their live the other night was fantastic. Moni's definitely been holding it down. Starsky's got a really good video. Um, Curtis King cooked him. So it's been a nice little corner pocket of the internet that we've been able to, keep safe and sacred and sane. Safe, sacred, and sane. Yes. Amen. Amen. And we've had some good fucking cackles. And I really appreciate that. I really, really do. Really, really needed this week. And I hope it's been, a bright spot for you too. I might see you tomorrow, but I don't think so. I've got plans, so I don't think so, but it could happen. We'll see. But otherwise, I will see you next week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. If you did not watch the scripted videos from this week, go check them out. You'll enjoy them. Nice balm for you. Okay. If you've seen a bunch of biscuit head bullshit nonsense and you're like, I need, it's there for you, beloved. I got you covered. So, yeah, appreciate you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend, and I will see you all very soon. Peace.